Most people have days where they wake up and they think, I'm not that happy with my relationship. I'm not having a good day today, and I'm feeling pretty lousy and down about my relationship, especially if you've been in a long term marriage. And this is normal once in a while to wake up and have some type of a disappointment. But if this feeling goes on week after week, month after month, and year after year, your marriage may have expired and you may not know about it. This is Dr. Dawn Michael, and today we're going to talk about how do you know if your relationship is over? What are some of the signs and what you can do about it? Now, this is a topic that people struggle with day in and day out if they've been in a situation or if you've been in a situation where you've been unhappy for a very long time. I'm sure that you have contemplated, should I end my marriage? What are some of the things that I should do to maybe get this started? Or do I try again? And many times people try over and over again and they come out with the same results. Well, obviously, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you are going to have the same results. So I'm going to give you some information and some tips that you can follow to see if your marriage is truly over or if it's something that can be saved. Now, the one thing that I am going to talk about first is it affecting your health? This is a big deal because if you're in an unhappy marriage or long-term relationship for a long period of time, it can create much stress in your life and this can affect your health. And this is never okay. It's never okay to be in any type of relationship where it is abusive, or it can be physical, it could be mental abuse, it could be that they're making you feel bad about yourself. None of these are good situations. And if it's affecting your health negatively, then it's seriously time to think about planning to get out of your marriage. Now, if this doesn't apply to you, then we're going to talk about some other ideas here. Now, one of the things I want you to do is take a piece of paper and I want you to write down some of the things that bother you in your marriage and some of the things that you would like to change in order for your marriage to go better. Now, once you have created this list, I want you to try to do things that will help you with this situation. So for instance, let's say that this is just a minor thing. You feel like your husband or your wife is not helping you out in the house. And you've asked them several times to help you with something, perhaps it's the laundry or the dishes or whatever it may be, and they just don't help you out. Well, what you need to do is write a detailed list and give them the list as to exactly what you want them to do to help you. So you have to create this recipe, and this is something I talk about with my clients, as to what they can do to help you. We can't read each other's minds. We don't know what the other person is thinking. And when we fall into that category where we think that we know what they're thinking, oftentimes it is incorrect. So you have to ask. And there is nothing wrong with asking. We ask for many things in life that we need to make ourselves feel better. And if you don't, then it's something that you need to start working on, is asking for what you want in your life. And part of that is being really clear on number one, what you want, and number two, how you can ask your partner to help you with this, to fulfill this in your marriage. So this is really important, is to be very clear on this, because the alternative is that you're going to end your marriage. And that's what we're talking about today, is trying everything you can before ultimately you say, I've done everything, I've crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's, and I believe my marriage has expired. So make the list, go about doing this for yourself, and give it about 3 months. Now, 3 months is when patterns begin to change. So try this out for 3 months and see if your spouse is responding to you. Now, this is important because you've set up these patterns your whole entire marriage. So your spouse is going to respond to you the way that they're been trained to respond to you, basically. So if you want them to respond differently to you, then you have to do something different in order to get a different response. So try this first and do baby steps and kind of monitor it and see if things are changing. Now, if you've gone through these steps and you really feel you've put 100% into it and you feel there is absolutely no hope and you have basically feel like I am just staying in this marriage, maybe I'm waiting for the kids to graduate or I don't want to be alone, none of that's a good excuse. So I am going to give you some telltale signs to really solidify that, yes, your marriage has expired. So in my book, I point some of these out, and I'm just going to read them off to you. It may seem obvious, but really, sometimes when you're in it, you just can't see it. So you have to sit back and just kind of take these in. None of these are good signs. And if these are signs that are going on in your marriage, it's a pretty good indication that perhaps the marriage has expired. Number one, it could be he or she. He's not interested in getting help for the marriage or talking about it. This is a big one. If the two of you are having problems and it's not getting resolved and your partner or your spouse simply will not go to counseling or has shut down and will not talk to you about it, that is a very bad sign, because once someone shuts you out or shuts you down, you're not able to resolve any problems. Number two, he does not come home very often and has many excuses for staying away. This is something that also can present a big problem because, again, the person is not present, meaning if they're not there, you can't really work anything out. And if this is something consistent, it's not really much of a marriage anyway if the person just simply is never around. Number three, he avoids sleeping in the same room. Well, now, obviously, if you have somebody who's snoring or if there's some sleep issues, I'm not talking about that. This is somebody who really avoids sleeping in the same room so that they can be distant from you because they don't want to be next to you. Basically, avoidance, so they're avoiding you. Number four, they have become distant over time and are no longer interested in sitting down for conversations. Again, it could even be that you go out to dinner and the two of you have nothing to say to each other. You sit on the couch and you're trying to spend time with one another, but you really just absolutely have nothing to say to each other, no interests other than perhaps bickering. And this has been going on for a while. There just really isn't anything there. Number five, he tells you that he wants out of the marriage and is only around due to practical or financial reasons. And believe it or not, this happens in marriages where, a spouse is saying, hey, I'm being honest, I don't want to be here anymore. And the only reason I'm here is because of financial reasons, or I'm waiting for the kids to leave. And that's when you have to think to yourself, do you really want to waste this precious time in your life until they decide to leave you? I mean, that's a big aha moment, I think, for many people, and something that should not be brushed under the carpet. Really take that seriously. Number six, declines sex and avoids affection. Now, there are sexual issues why sometimes people avoid sex, but if they're avoiding sex completely as well as avoiding affection, then you have a problem. It means they're just really not into you. They're not into wanting to touch you or wanting to be with you. And so, again, if it's something that the person doesn't want to talk about or fix, you're in a marriage with somebody that you love, and there are physical needs that people need to have met with each other. And touching and hugging and being intimate is really important in a marriage. So that's definitely a sign that perhaps the marriage has expired, or you need to really think about getting some help if they agree to it. Number seven, the two of you can no longer find common ground and are living separate lives. Now, this can happen for couples, and sometimes it works for them that they're living separate lives, but they're married for, other reasons. But if that's not what's going on with you and you've noticed that you really just are living a separate life, but still married and still pining away and hoping that your spouse is going to change and want you back, this is really not a good sign. It's, again, time for you to move on and realize that the marriage has expired. Number 8, deep down you know that the relationship is over, but you keep pushing yourself to make it work. And this is the one that I feel many people fall into, is this hamster wheel, where they know in their heart that they've tried everything and that it's just not working, but perhaps they don't want to be alone, or they don't know how to get out of it. And this is when you really need to go see a counselor for yourself, or talk to a trusted, I would not say friend, but really somebody who doesn't know you and your husband. Maybe, you can talk to a priest or a rabbi or a counselor or somebody trusted outside the relationship, that you can really say, hey, I do think my marriage is over and I need some help as to what to do to get out of the marriage. It's time that I end the marriage. So I hope that this information has helped you. If you want to pick up a copy of my book, there's more information in there. I know the title is My Husband Won't Have Sex with Me, but it also is My Wife Won't Have Sex with Me. It's basically the same thing, and it just really talks about what couples can do to improve the intimacy in their marriage, as well as the very end chapter I have is the marriage has expired, and this happens as well. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment. I believe everyone deserves to have a healthy sex life, and so do you.